let's talk about alcohol because I don't think it's being talked enough about in the right way. That means this isn't supposed to be a shame-based conversation. This is about using alcohol and usage with it. This could also probably be applied to quite literally anything, but I do want to use it specifically in the context of alcohol for this purpose. But if you have not seen me, hi, my name is Kat Donovan, and my whole goal is just to live a fulfilling and authentic lifestyle, and I like to bring people along the way. So, welcome. So glad you're here. And yeah, let's get into it. So, the thing about alcohol, at least for me, is I did used to be in sales, and I did, in fact, used to drink a lot. It was a part of entertaining, but also in my free time, my personal life, I also drank a decent amount. And I think it was one of those things where we have made lifestyles around alcohol the norm, even if it's not the right way to go about a relationship with alcohol. I think we do these things blindly, which is the problem. I don't think drinking is the problem. I think the blindness behind the drinking is the problem. Because what I've found for myself is whenever you're craving that thing, you have to understand it's telling you something about, are you anxious? Are you avoidant? There's plenty of different triggers that happen, or it allows you to see your triggers more so. What's happening in your life that you are craving a drink? The other concept of this is understanding, are you even craving a drink? I realized for me personally, there was a lot of times where I was overgiving in the sense that I was just drinking because someone else was drinking and I didn't want to make them feel bad for drinking, which is a very weird mindset to be in, but I think a lot of people-pleasing people have that mindset of what am I going to do? Say no? And I think that's something we need to realize. If you feel guilty for not drinking with someone, that is a reflection of you and where you're at. You're not setting a boundary with yourself, and you're not setting a boundary with someone else, because at the end of the day, no one should be pressuring you to drink or do drugs or honestly do anything. Everything that you do should be because you want to do it, truly. And so when you're in that mindset, that can kind of help you get out of the people-pleasing part of it. But I think the major part of this is not just understanding drinking on a day-to-day level, but more so, I want to talk about actually getting belligerently drunk, because I don't think we talk about that enough. When we get very, very intoxicated to the point of blacking out, I think that is your sign to be like, why am I doing this? Because it's not about the fact that you're losing control. It's telling you, why do you want to lose control? Now, sometimes it's because you don't feel like you can be yourself unless you are fully black out. And again, that's a boundary for you to explore, and shadows for you to explore on why do you feel like you can't be yourself? Is it because of shame? Is it because of other people? Or is it truly just internal things? Hate to say, but the answer is your relationship with yourself. Other people probably shamed you growing up, but you are the only person that gets to decide if you take that shame on as your own or not. So when you're analyzing, why did I feel the need to get black out? Is it because you're not comfortable with being able to be yourself sober? 2, how dangerous of situations are you putting yourself into? Because I personally found I put myself into some very, very dangerous situations. I'm talking as in I was in New York City, blacked out, have no idea what happened for 3 hours of my time, woke up on the plaza steps type thing. And it's a very traumatic thing that, again, you also don't even realize as traumatic, because that very well could have been a near-death experience. You have no idea what happened in those 3 hours of being blacked out. You have no idea who came up to you, who talked to you. Like, I didn't have a bag that I had when I started my journey. Where did that go? That had my purse, that had all of my belongings in it. What happened? And it's situations like that where it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? I mean, that's self-sabotage, that's self-hate, there's so many levels of understanding the reasons why you're doing it. And it was particularly interesting because I don't usually get belligerently black out often. It almost seems like it happens like once a year. And this year is when I really made a lot of connections for myself. And it was after a time where I thought I was extremely disrespected and I didn't know how to handle my emotions. So I think that's also something to be mindful of is, are you just drinking because you don't know how to handle your emotions and you just feel like it's an excuse to be able to let out the emotions? Maybe it's the only time that you actually know how to feel or allow your body to feel, because there's no mind control stopping the emotions from flowing. That's what I realized for me, is I did not know how to consciously process emotions and allow those things to flow through me. And so I would get belligerently drunk so that way I could shut off my mind, so that way I could actually feel the emotions that were repressed. That was part of it. The other part of it was what I did was extremely dangerous. I was in a foreign country and I decided to go walking by myself on the side of a street. I went a way that I had never gone before, and had someone not messaged my phone enough for me to sober up in that moment and actually look at a map and actually have phone battery to be able to look at the map to get back safely to where I needed to go, that could have been a very, very bad situation. And it showed me, hey, the core belief that you have is that no one cares about you, that it would not matter if you ended up dead in a ditch. And you need to talk to yourself about why do you feel this way? Why do you think no one cares about you? What created that belief, and where are you lying to yourself with that belief? It's layers and layers and layers. And so I don't necessarily think drinking is a bad thing. I don't even know that getting belligerently drunk is necessarily a bad thing, as long as you're learning from it. If you're understanding the self through the use of it, obviously you should be careful, because you do matter, people do love you, and people do want you alive on this planet. But you need to understand why you're drinking. And I think this is a very important conversation to have, because I was talking to one of my friends about this, and she had another friend who was doing very similar things to me, where she was like, dude, I feel like every single weekend she has a new story about something that was actually extremely dangerous. And it's understanding that it might seem fun in the moment, and it might feel cool, because that's kind of the culture that we've promoted in this society, is like, yeah, it's fun to get messed up and it's fun to have a good time. And it's fun to just let loose. But you need containers for these things. It shouldn't be you having to risk your life almost in order to feel the emotions, and in order to not avoid things, or maybe to avoid things. Just depends on who you are and why you're drinking. But just be mindful about what's happening, or what events happened prior to you starting to drink that made you feel okay, or the need, or the want, or the desire to do what ended up happening. It's all about mindfulness. It's all about intention. And when you do that, I think you're going to feel a lot better, and you won't feel the need to do those types of things. You'll be able to actually appreciate alcohol for what it is and be able to use it as a true form of celebration. And I think that would be a really cool thing for society to start doing, is actually practicing these vices as celebratory tools rather than coping mechanisms. And once we get to that point, I think we'll have a much happier society and a much more connected society. But I think it's very important that we have these conversations and we actually talk about, why are we doing things? Because when we understand the why, that's when we can start getting to the root of everything. And we can start to change our lives for the better and actually align with the path that we're supposed to be going on. So yeah, if this was helpful, go ahead and give it a like. If you have anything to add about your journey with alcohol and what has helped you, or what you've found through actually intentionally looking at when you're drinking, please leave a comment below. And of course, subscribe. I would love to have you here. Love chatting with you guys. And if you're looking for any more content, I do have a Patreon. It's linked in the description, but it's also linked in bio. Basically, it's just where I talk about more things that I've learned, but it's more artistic, more poetic, and more raw. It's a more of a creative space for me. But yeah, it was lovely chatting with you guys. I hope this was helpful, and all my love to you. Bye.